Southern California, yeah.
Born and raised our DNA. Laugh and cry to what we say. We hit you with that wordplay.
4053.
What episode are we on? D, they feeling like baby zombies, all dressed in Abercrombie.
SoCal DNA coming in live. 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night. COVID got you sitting inside. Why not sip one and free your mind?
Cheap thrills, popping pills, stack cash, spend it fast.
Listen to all of Don's lies as Arjun act like he's surprised. Yo, hey man, you gotta hit him with the new news that we got. We got some new news for our listeners.
That's right. We do have some new news. So a lot of you who follow us on Spotify may have been surprised to find an extra episode, not numbered or anything, just an extra episode called SoCal DNA Decoded, pop up last night. And we'll explain what that's about. So we've been working on this new thing for quite some time. We, as the audience already knows, we enjoy doing these album reviews. We did it on RTJ4. We did it on Rack by Boy or Boy by Rack, whatever the hell that guy's name was. I can't even remember.
Oh, the disrespect.
I know. Very forgettable album. And of course, we specialize in music. We love talking about music all the time. And so we want to do this on a more frequent basis. But one thing that always kind of held us back a little bit was copyright issues, right? We love to play the music for you, but we know that we'll get sued or our stuff will get taken down. So then we found Anchor has a very special connection to Spotify, and they're beta testing this new feature where they actually allow you to play music directly from Spotify in your podcast. So we thought might as well debut it with one of Don's favorite artists.
Hell yeah.
Rich Bryant.
Goat.
The GOAT, as
baby
Don
goat,
likes
baby
to
goat,
say.
baby goat.
Baby goat compared to, of course, his real goat, Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Hell yeah.
So you can already imagine the type of troll rap that Don likes
Oh,
to
I can't wait for the next album that I get to pick.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before you pick. But I'll just say, this was a fun album review to do, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. Now, the caveat here is it is exclusively available on Spotify. We are not able to upload it on YouTube. It is not on any other platform. But most of our listeners I know have Spotify in some capacity. And so by all means, when you get some time, check it out. Really good commentary on all the tracks, and even a little bit of bonus at the end where we dip into something special. So yeah, just wanted to get that out there. Be sure to check that out and let us know your feedback. We'll be doing more of those in the future. Maybe not every week, but on a somewhat regular basis. And we're always open to suggestions. So whatever you want us to check out, whether it's a single, an EP, or LP, whatever it is, we will go through with it. With that being said, Don, I know there's been some very, very exciting news that happened this week.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Not as exciting as our new segment that we've released and eloquently talked about right now. But just yesterday, our Los Angeles Dodgers have finally taken home the World Championship. It's amazing, man. And I think, baseball reigns a little more heavily on my field than it does in the A's. But the last year they won was in '88 when I was born. So I was a little fetus. Whether or not you think I was alive at that point or not, we'll talk about later. But it's been a long time coming. I expected to see it with my own eyes, and for it to finally happen as it did this year, it's been fantastic. My wife and I have been going to those games religiously prior to the whole COVID epidemic and us moving to a different county, and it has been a roller coaster. People are going to say it's an illegitimate title as they did with the Lakers given the shortened season and all the COVID restrictions and all that bullshit that you haters are going to be saying. But a chip is a chip. There were teams competing, and every single team that went, especially in baseball, every single team fought tooth and nail to try to get to where the Dodgers are, where they stand right now. And it prides me to say that Clayton Kershaw, future Hall of Famer, finally has that ring for the rest of eternity. Well deserved on his end, and the rest of our crew, whether it be our new true ace, I would say, in Walker Buehler, or our now COVID positive Turner, who still played in the game and got ripped out in like the bottom of the seventh. It's been a long time coming, especially for our MVP, the World Series MVP, and Corey Seager. That fool, in his first year in, we had high expectations of him, super high. And then he ends up, having a season-ending injury and requires surgery. And to see his growth after coming back and now being an MVP without even having a, normal season MVP speaks levels as to how great he played throughout the series. A lot of people argue it probably should have went to Kershaw, which I could see it happening, right? If Kershaw pitched that last game, he's been solid throughout that postseason, scoring 4-1 prior to even hitting the 2 wins in the World Series. Mookie, of course, solid candidate for the MVP. I think I saw him in the post interviews where he was looking around like hoping they called his name to go receive the trophy, but it never came. Made some spectacular catches. Played solid defense throughout the whole series, throughout the whole postseason, throughout the whole year. And had some solid at-bats and some homers that, definitely made the difference. But I think Corey, rightfully so, got it because he was the most impactful. He was basically on base what seemed like every time he was up for bat. And it happened quite often with how hot our bats are on the Dodgers. And his defense, covering that shortstop position, which is arguably one of the hardest positions to play unless you're pitching, was outstanding. So it's going to be hard. I think we have him for one more year. We'll see what happens. Actually, I should check that out. Go ahead, eh? What do you think, man? I know you don't follow the Dodgers too much or baseball that much, but I'm hoping over time you could be the Skip to my Shannon.
I gotta say that was fantastic. That made me laugh out loud. I gotta say, but I gotta say I can be that Skip without even watching games. I know how to be Skip. I can totally be Skip, and I will be Skip right now.
You are Skip. If you think about it, man, you're the hater. I'm the one that's like, look at it. Just watch. And then the goat. Bro, all right, wait, quick segue, dude. I think there was a segment this morning or yesterday morning on First Take where, Shannon's all about L.A. For sure. He's riding the L.A. train hard, and, I love him about it. And then he said something about the L.A. Galaxy being up next, and then I don't think he knows because the L.A. Galaxy are actually last right now. So it's actually rough,
I think it just goes to show that mainstream America does not watch soccer at all. They have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, man.
But no, I mean, look, I'm tremendously happy for Don and all hardcore Dodger fans across the world. I mean,
yeah.
I know.
Yeah, they are last.
Galaxy's that bad? Oh
yeah,
man.
man.
Oh, man.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I had the opportunity to watch a couple of these games, not in full, but just a few innings, and it was great. I could see, how badly the players wanted it, how hard they were playing, and the concentration and the strategy and everything. Of course, I didn't really appreciate it on the same level as somebody like Don, who's been waiting since he was a fetus to see this happening again. But I certainly enjoyed it, and I like knowing that LA is double champion this year. Lakers, of course, earlier in the month, and now we have the Dodgers just the other day. And so it's so rare for, LA to win twice in 2 major events. Yeah. But beyond that, in the same month, this is never going to happen again.
No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Well, no, I say that, Don, because as you know, because of the whole bubble situation and COVID, the NBA season was delayed, right?
Oh, yeah, but then it could happen again next year.
I don't think it'll finish in October again next year. I highly doubt that.
Oh, for the NBA specifically.
Yeah, for the NBA. I mean, yeah, baseball will always be, I guess, around this time. Is that pretty
always
typical?
October. Always October.
There you go. But no, I thought it was great. Mookie Betts. I finally saw what all the hype was about.
He's fucking solid, man.
Yeah, really great. Really great
solid
guy.
And if you follow the Dodgers for a while, one of my favorite players to ever wear the Dodger uniform is Puig. And
Yasiel
Puig. Dude who's still fleeing, I think, the Colombian government for whatever reason. But he played the same position. And you know who Yasiel is, at least body type. Two completely different body types. And I think it just speaks levels as to what Mookie brings to the table. He's not just a hot bat. Like, his defensive prowess and speed is fucking bar none, dude. I used to always think that you needed a slugger back there. You just plop him in the field, and you just give him the fly ball every now and then, and so he doesn't have to run too much or do any quick movements that the infield has to do. But if we didn't have Mookie making those fucking 0-60 runs in 2.2 seconds, I don't know, man. I don't know. It would have been a different story, I think.
No, for sure. I think he was a great candidate for MVP, like you said. I think that ultimately you couldn't go wrong. I mean, whoever you gave it to, I think they well deserved it.
Yeah.
Now, to be the skip, finally, to be a little bit of a down.
Finally? What do you mean? Yeah, go ahead. The usual. Let me hear. Let me go like Shannon and lean back and pucker my lips a little bit. What
sure thing. Sure thing. Well, I'll tell you this much. Sports are great. Sports are fantastic. It's always good to have that kind of diversion. But
sure,
it's important to note that we're still in COVID season. COVID season is not over.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that specifically because, as you know, one of your favorites, Turner, after winning the championship, he was actually brought along with everybody else on the field, and he even took off his mask. And not only that, he was next to people, one of which I think might have been the manager, was a former cancer survivor. And so he might be already at a high risk. He might be in that,
Yeah, I mean, and to be the Shannon again, I think that's fake news. Turner actually never went on the field once he was taken out.
But he celebrated with his teammates.
No.
How do you? Oh, didn't the article say that? Let me verify.
Go ahead. Oxford again?
No, this wasn't Oxford. This was the Magruder Middle School.
Middle school. Magruder.
Yeah, sorry. That's the best I could find for this one. Sorry, guys. No. So okay. From NPR. All right. And I like NPR. I think you do too.
Okay.
Dodgers third base tests positive for COVID-19, then celebrates with teammates. Okay. So here's what it briefly says. After your team wins, it's only natural for you to run onto the field and celebrate. But when you've been diagnosed with COVID, the natural instinct can lead to a full investigation by the MLB. And so he's in an investigation right now. He took a COVID test on Monday, came back inconclusive. So the lab expedited a retest, got positive. He was removed from the game after the 7th inning. And then he was quarantined in a doctor's office. And after he tweeted, I guess, celebrating the championship, he came back onto the field where he not only carried the trophy, but also participated in the team photo, taking off his mask and sitting shoulder to shoulder with fellow players. And dude, there's video footage. So
I see. Yeah, I'm looking at the pictures right now. Because I didn't see him, and when I just Googled it right now, it said that he was actually quarantined immediately. But then, okay. Yeah, not a good look. Not a good look. But to play devil's advocate, I would do that shit too, and I'm sure his teammates don't fucking care too much. Now,
what if somebody?
When it comes to exactly. Now it comes to that immune compromised person that was also on the field.
Uh-huh.
That's where I see it gets a little. Yeah, you cross the line a bit there. Hopefully, everything's okay. We just hit them with some Dexa, and we're good. We're good.
Dexa? What is that?
You don't know what Dexa is?
No. What is it?
It's the medication that works against, or the FDA approved for treatment of COVID. One that Trump took. Dexamethasone.
Oh, I know it as remdesivir.
Okay. Yeah. I don't go by trade names. I go for the actual chemical name.
Oh, see, there you go. There's your biology background finally kicking in.
Oh, fuck yeah. There we go. Student loans speaking.
Yeah, that was wild. Okay. Well, I just have to say, I can fully understand it. I mean, I get it. How often do you win a championship and you're part of it? Like you're part of the team. You played a major role. Of course, you want to celebrate with everybody.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
it is a
if it
bad look.
was like any other player, like someone that was just in the bullpen or someone that, or not even our bullpen, sorry, if it was just like a ball boy, I'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Like, come on. But if it was someone as critical to the win or the overall seasonal success that the Dodgers had, I think I'm gonna let it slide. I'm gonna let it slide as long as everyone kind of signed waivers prior to it. You know.
And I guess, Mookie Betts probably said it best. He said, he's part of our team. Forget all that. He's part of the team. We're not excluding him from anything.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Spoken like a true leader, right there.
There you go, a young leader at
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But again, congratulations to the LA Dodgers. Well deserved, long time coming. They had a couple of cracks at it over the last few years, but I'm glad they were finally able to break through this year. And to give us a quick prediction, maybe, Don, I know it's difficult with baseball because anything could happen, really. But do you think the Dodgers are in a good position to go for it again next season?
Yeah, definitely. There's gonna be some changes in our clubhouse for sure, but with our anchor now set with Mookie Betts, and according to all the haters, the war chest we have every goddamn year, we will definitely make it work. I think it's finally time that Dave Roberts, our manager, gets the respect that he's deserved. He was one of the first, if not the first, pioneer of the rotating bullpen. That it's probably new to you, but it's basically bringing out a pitcher every goddamn time you can and getting the best bats at whenever you can by rotating that pitcher out. Even if our team doesn't come back as it was, they don't run it back like LA Streets, run it back, run it back. The chemistry is definitely there, and it's just a little monopoly board that they have to set up with how these contracts are going to work for next year. But yeah, I think we're set. It's we have fantastic offense. We have above average defense. Of course, I think we're going to run it back. We've been in the World Series for the past, or at least we've been in playoffs and made deep runs for the past 4 years. So yeah, I think it'll happen eventually. And
I'm
next
glad
year,
to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. I think it's always great when LA sports teams are making deep playoff runs, making it even all the way. Um, I don't know much about the football season this year because I simply have not been paying attention.
Sure.
But just as a quick shout out, how are the Rams doing this year?
They're doing okay. They're doing better than they did last year. We got rid of our princess running back from last year that, for some odd reason, would always get hurt at the most critical times.
He lost a couple of fantasy games for you, huh?
No. He always had solid fantasy production. He just never had that superstar level fantasy production in the offs or the postseason when we needed him to.
He did, though. He did. I remember distinctly having him about 2 or 3 years ago, and he was dropping like huge nights, man. Huge games.
Yeah, but when it matters in the postseason, it's like who's an equivalent in the like?
Oh, you're saying in the real postseason, in the NFL postseason?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So he's like the pandemic P of football. Good all season, could be all-star level. But then when it matters, his PP shrinks, and for some odd reason, he gets weak in the knees. So we got rid of him. I feel like our locker room is a lot better. They're jiving better. We did lose some crucial pieces in our defense, but we have the big man Aaron Donald, who is a beast. Like, that's not a dude you want to fuck with at all. I'd be scared if I was the quarterback against the Rams defense just because of Aaron Donald. And I think our quarterback is par. Our receiving unit's still growing, but good chemistry. Whether or not we're going to do it this year, I don't know. It's always depends on injuries, right? In football, especially. And so far, looking so good. Looking pretty good.
Glad to hear that. I will certainly not be watching a single game, but I'm glad to hear
come
that.
On.
I'm quite frankly, I'm over football, at least for this year. And it's nothing to do with COVID, really. It's more like I realized earlier that the only reason why I followed football was not because I was a real fan of it. No, 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 not at all. It was more because I was part of this fantasy football league,
Sure.
at my old work.
Hmm.
And I always lost. I was never good at it. Like, I made playoffs once. And even then, I didn't even make any money. Like, there was
Sure.
no money for making playoffs. So I thought, might as well give that up. It's just wasting, precious brain space, right? Precious capacity. Why learn all these names every year? Why refresh my Rolodex of who's on what team? Is it better to have this guy play on the road versus away? Blah, blah, blah. I just thought, be gone with it completely. But I also admire people like yourself that not only has a genuine interest in multiple sports, NBA, MLB, and NFL, but you actually keep up to some extent. Maybe you're not watching every game, but you actually keep up. And so that's pretty cool, man. Is there any sport that you don't keep up with? I imagine it's the LA Galaxy.
Yeah. I don't follow American football, or I'm sorry, American soccer,
Okay.
as much. I want to, but obviously the talent is in the Euro leagues out there where it's really good. Something I've wanted to get into is whether or not you even consider it a sport is Formula One.
It's just, why did you want to get into that?
No, because it's a sport. So I'm just going through all the sports that I can
Oh,
think
okay,
of,
okay.
right?
What about NASCAR?
Well, NASCAR is, I mean, I could see it being a sport. It's almost, it's just speed. Speed, and you have to understand, like, these guys are going 200 miles per hour. Granted, they're not, heavy turns, but they're bank turns that also, one false little slip of an inch or a centimeter on that steering wheel could send you, against the gate or into another person, God forbid.
Sure.
So yeah, I do consider it a sport. Now that MJ is involved, especially. So, so I don't follow NASCAR, don't follow Formula One. I did briefly try to follow sumo on YouTube. Bro, that's a sport you gotta watch. That thing is amazing.
So you might enjoy this.
Yeah.
On do you know what NHK is? Have you heard of the network NHK?
Yeah, that's where they what do you call it? That's where I was watching on YouTube. They would always post clips of like those
Oh,
like grand
okay.
tournaments.
So guess what? I've seen those.
Yeah,
I've
they're
seen
fucking
that
dope,
shit.
right?
They're amazing. They're amazing. Like these big bellied guys, man.
Yeah.
They have a lot of power, a lot of
Oh hell
quickness,
yeah, hell yeah.
and some of them are able to move so quickly on their
Yeah,
feet, like
yeah,
just kind of like around that circle, to
yeah,
avoid getting
yeah,
knocked
yeah,
out, and they'd swing the momentum the other
yeah,
way.
yeah,
And they're always like gripping the diapers or whatever you
yeah,
call it, like really really hard.
yeah. No, there's this
Um,
one dude that what really got me into it. There's this one small sumo wrestler compared to the rest. He's
yeah,
probably
yeah,
giant
yeah,
compared to us, but he's like,
yeah, yeah,
we're
yeah.
probably his height. And most of these sumo wrestlers are easily over 6 foot, just towering over everybody in both height and width. But this little guy, I want to look him out so I could, do a little shout out. Smallest pro sumo wrestler. Let's see, what's his name? Enho. Hell yeah, that's my dude, Enho. I don't think he'll ever reach Yokozuna status, but dude, Enho's solid, man. That's my guy. He's coming
I
in at
find it.
dude. He's
Uh-huh.
coming in at 5'6"
Oh wow,
and
that's
only 218. He's smaller than me, man.
dang. But I'm sure. Really, he's one of the fastest sumo wrestlers out there, right?
He's
Like the
definitely
way.
one of the fastest, and he has the lowest center of gravity, which could play, to his strengths. But that center of gravity can only do so much when the mass in front of you is, skilled first off, and knows what's coming, and
Sure.
is 2 to 3 times your size.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I also kind of find it amusing when I turn on an HK
Yeah.
and I see yeah, Japanese guy, Japanese guy, Japanese guy, but then all of a sudden there's like a white guy.
Yeah, man. Those are the best. Hey, one of them's a Yokozuna too. Yokozuna is like the highest level. It's almost like all-star for the
Interesting.
NBA.
So when you were saying that, I was actually thinking you were referring to the former WWF wrestler.
That's
Like
what
you're
you
actually
understand.
saying like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, okay, now I get it.
Yeah, Yokozuna is like, or rather, like the tiering system in sumo is you have to get a certain number of wins in order to reach the next tier or the next level of classification, and Yokozuna is the highest. And I think in the world there's only been like 80, like over time, all of history.
Yeah.
So it's hard to reach that level. And I think one of the non-Japanese ones is on the cusp of being a Yokozuna. The most latest one came from Mongolia, I believe, which, depending on how you see it, it's definitely not in Japan. But he was raised, I think, in Japan and whatnot. So...
No, that's really cool. Like, I clearly am just a novice when it comes to the sport of sumo. I just see a couple of videos on NHK whenever I turn it on local TV.
You gotta commit to the rabbit hole.
I don't want to. Because it's not like I'm like, oh yay, sumo. No, oh sumo. Yeah, I'm not. I don't say yay sumi or sumo, or sumo. But it's just, for me, it's like, it's interesting to see like a very traditional sport that's celebrated. It's almost like a prize boxing match,
Oh yeah,
like over there.
Oh, definitely.
And I know when President Trump and Melania, when they visited Japan last, I think they were special guests to a big sumo match.
Hell yeah.
And it's huge. It's a big deal over there, and I get it. I respect that and everything. But I never went as far as what Don did to learn about the different tiers and
oh yeah, man. Because I was planning on it, dude. I get heavy in this, dude. You know how addictive I am. I was like, oh man, maybe I can train at like a sumo gym. Give me a reason to be as fat as I am. Like, let's put it to good use. Let's learn how to use this girth.
Hey, Yeah, I'm sure you use it in different ways. I'm sure you do, and I hope you continue to build it. I hope you build it too.
Hey, it's bulking season. Every season.
It's bulking
season. Hey man, winter is coming. Hey, I'm ready. Are you?
I love it. I love it. I gotta catch up to you a little bit, I guess. But I did mention President Trump and Melania going to Japan.
Sure.
We haven't been talking about Trump in quite some time, probably for the best.
I know, man. I know it hurts your feelings, right? We're not talking about your boy. I'm sorry, man. Hey, shout out to Trump from A. We apologize. We apologize.
Very, very slippery. Very slippery, this D.
Yeah. Don't even address it. Keep going.
Don't even address it. That's a Michael Scott moment right there. That's a Michael Scott moment. Oh man, I may have to tone down the volume for this part, if you know what I mean. But yeah, no. So obviously, Trump versus Biden. It is the biggest battle of 2020 after Dodgers versus Tampa Bay Rays,
sure,
and after Lakers versus Miami Heat. Little did people know it's actually coming up real soon. I mean, it's
about a week away.
About a week away. So November 3rd is Election Day. And I hope, to all of our listeners, you voted already. I hope you avoid the mess. You don't have to go directly to the polls. Yeah. I hope you mailed in your ballot or you dropped it off at some location. Mm-hmm. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't think anybody can say which way this election is going to go. I was one of those people in 2016 that thought, oh, Hillary's got it in the bag. Yeah, I don't even have to look at them. Took it for granted. I mean, all the polls were kind of saying this, and all the mainstream media coverage kind of took it for granted too. But then when I saw what happened on Election Day, I was like, huh. Well, that shatters that shatters my entire sphere of understanding about how politics works.
Yeah, especially when you're watching it and they do like the little 5-minute updates or minutely updates where you see the states going. You're like, okay. Like, I see California is obviously blue, cool, but what's going on everywhere else?
And soon later the whole map was red pretty much, and I was like, wow, this is real. This is really happening. So since then, I kind of make it a point for me never to pay attention to polls, and I know that's a little bit ignorant because I do understand that a lot of the polls were actually right in 2016 when counting the popular vote. Hillary did win the popular vote, and I think the polls were within the margin of error, like plus or minus 3% or whatever it is.
Sure.
But for me, I don't even care that every poll Biden seems to be leading. I don't really take too much stock into that. I think this is very much a toss-up. However, if we were to actually go as far as making some predictions, some bold predictions, I know this may disappoint Don, but I think Biden will win, and he will win with a resounding victory. I don't think it'll be as close as a lot of people think it will.
Sure.
Um, I think there was a silent majority in 2016. The silent majority voted for Trump. I think we're going to have a similar impact, but this time for the Democrat. I think this time a lot of people would be like, yeah, Biden, can't really talk, can't really think, can't really walk or do anything. But, let's just say he's the right man for the job. And I may publicly denounce him for whatever reason, for
Skip.
possible dementia, whatever it is. But he gets the vote. And I think a lot of people are thinking that way. When you're choosing between these two, it's always the lesser of two evils. And Don, you probably agree with that, right? You probably think,
Yeah, I mean, if my vote were to ring true, then yeah, Biden would be the one winning. But it's hard to say, and I kind of want to bring this up. It's slightly tangential, but your point about Biden not being able to speak, the same thing could be said about Hillary last year. There was that controversy, or not last year, sorry, last election cycle. There was that controversy where people were saying they were shooting her up with something to perk her up to be able to handle the stress and vigor of an election run. So
okay,
it's slightly
so
different.
it is slightly different. It's more than slightly different. Whether or not that's true, and I'm not denying that because I haven't read into it, but
Sure.
whether or not that's true, I think it's different when what you're seeing from the candidate
Mm-hmm.
is very, very subpar,
Sure.
right? Like with Hillary, when she was speaking on camera, I never felt like, oh, her age is impacting her or her memory is impacting
Sure.
her. I never once felt that way. Whether or not that was artificially induced,
Sure.
maybe. But for Biden, regardless of what he's taking or not taking, you see him speak and you know that he's trying. And this is the part that gets to me. I can tell he's trying. He's really genuinely
Yep.
putting his best effort
That's the
forward.
way to say it, dude. He's genuine.
He is. He is.
He's like Uncle Joe, in all the good ways. Not the creepy Uncle Joe, like the Uncle Joe you go and, you raise your glass to. No words need to be said, but you get it. That's how I feel. That's the vibe I get. I would love to have him at a barbecue, and love to poke his mind at the vast wisdom that he has.
Yeah, no, you bring up a great point because I saw the town hall where Biden was basically talking to all these people.
Sure.
They were all spaced out and everything, but I just remember how much time he gave to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And even after the show was over, the cameras kept rolling for just extra footage. And Biden actually went up to everyone and had more conversations
Mm-hmm.
because he wanted to really make sure that he was there to answer whatever questions
Mm-hmm.
these audience members had.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like that about him. I like that at least, publicly, he seems to care, right?
Yep.
It's not just about promoting his brand or promoting his always being right, like Don usually does, always being more right than his co-host. But I think for Biden, it does seem credible. There's this credibility to him in terms of being a caring person.
Sure. No, and I think that definitely rings true. And if I were to dive deep a little bit into one facet of my political ideology, I believe it's time that we get someone that can actually become a proper figurehead for the leader of the new world, or the leader of the free world.
Yes.
It's hard to imagine, like, most of Trump's policies I tend to say okay with, but there are others where you're like, what the fuck, dude? Like, really? He's angered way too many people. He's kind of enabled people that have been sequestered with their real thoughts and motivations a little bit too much. And I think it's time for our country to get back to its rightful roots and promote freedom and equality and just fucking happiness. Our economy is going to be strong. We're going to feel all the progress we've made for a while. There's no need to push it even further to the breaking point that I feel like it's on every goddamn day. I check the damn market. But I don't know, man. According to A, he wants that market to keep on rising. So I don't know, man. What do you think?
No, I actually want it to fall.
You're hoping for a bear market?
I'm hoping to buy, so I wanna look into that later on. I know today was kind of bad, but I haven't been looking at it closely over the past few weeks. I've been busy, but I do want to get into that a little bit later. I
Sure.
think for now, though, I'll say um, I predict, as I said before, Biden will win the popular vote by a significant margin, probably more than 3%, more than 3%.
You think he's gonna take the electorals that he needs?
No, that's where it gets interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a political nerd like Don is, so I can't tell you battleground states who's gonna win what.
Yeah, man,
Don will get
you're
into all
following the
that.
wrong country, dude. You gotta follow the right country so you would know
That
this
was a
stuff.
great diss, by the way. People may not understand what he just said, but for those that know the other countries I follow, well, yeah,
The other country.
yeah, I guess so. I guess so. The one that I tend to drop references of from time to time. Yeah, it's kind of sad how I'm more in tune with
Yeah, it is.
the politics there, out of sheer entertainment purposes. Like, not that it directly affects me, but I just know more things over there. Um, I would guess that um, at least one battleground state will be close. Like, I'm talking about less than 1% difference between Biden and Trump.
Sure.
And I actually expect Trump to make a big fuss about that. Whether or not that state would directly make a difference, I don't know. But if a state is very, very close, and let's say it goes to Biden, I think Trump may even say, "Oh, I'm going to demand a recount. Let's run this back, or discount votes after a certain date." I think it'll get messy.
Sure. And there's a lot of protections that have been set. But like you said, I could see Trump doing his usual steamrolling wherever he can. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I'm hoping that we could at least know the outcome by next week, or at least have enough votes that would kind of lead us to the answer. But given that, some people still have to vote, some people still have to mail in stuff. Who knows how long it's going to take to get the full conclusive tally.
What is your take, by the way? Do you think that votes should not be counted after Election Day, like some senators seem to think?
No. I think just like with all things, when you pay your bill, as long as it's marked on the right day and you send it in on that day, and it's in someone else's hands to deliver, that's not on you. So, there's a walk around when it comes to the election process where you can actually go and vote in person, and it's done right there, right then, that second or that minute, depending on how much you read. It's COVID season. I'm not expecting anyone to do something I wouldn't want to do. I don't feel comfortable sitting in a room with more than 10 people in it. Why the hell would I go to some rinky-dink spot that nobody knows about except for that time of year when you go vote, where there's a damn line of people all over, standing around, mumbling whatever the hell they're mumbling, and you have to go through that long, arduous process. I don't know.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. I just thought that you can actually mail in your ballot either on election day or even after, right? Like, as long as it's postmarked by a certain day.
Yeah, and I think they should still count those as long as it's postmarked by, I would say even then, as long as it's postmarked by November 2nd, I would say you should tally it.
I guess you're right. I guess historically the way it's worked is when a certain number of the votes have been reported,
Sure.
like enough to actually
Yeah.
have a state go to a candidate, then
to
it's
have the
done.
majority.
Like,
Yeah.
So you can officially say, "Oh, electoral college wise, this state goes
Yeah.
here."
Yeah,
Even though
that's
the
what I was
final-
alluding to. Saying, like, hopefully by next week we can at least have that direction set. Because, as you mentioned earlier, Trump is probably going to want the full counts regardless of basically if 51% was made or not. He's gonna want the full 100.
That's true. That's true. So let's make another prediction here. Do you think Trump will accept the result gracefully?
No, even if he wins, no, he's gonna be a sore winner or a sore loser, and I expect that out of him. Which is, to me, that's an alpha move, but it's not a presidential move.
It's a Trump move more than anything.
That's why, yeah. So,
you know, I worry only because not exactly about what Trump will do, but what it means for America, like what it means for all the cities and the people just in the cities. Because, I don't know if people are going to protest. I feel like they definitely
they
will.
definitely will, man. I mean, if they're fucking out there right now in the streets of LA celebrating and rioting over a Dodger win, over a Laker win, what's going to happen with the results of the presidential election? Can you only imagine? Like, it's scary, and I would hope and pray to God that our leadership in major cities have protective measures set up for such an occasion. We got enough shit going on with the fires here in California. We have enough shit going on with what is it? I think Louisiana was hit with a damn hurricane today officially. We have enough shit going on in the world. It's just gonna get worse, and with COVID rates going up, it's not a pretty picture, man. I'm scared.
Yeah, no, you bring up some great points. I think it is a prudent decision to have maybe extra protection, as you said,
Yep.
in different areas. I know for a fact people are thinking of getting protection for themselves as well, depending on if they have like a store or maybe even a nice house or something that could potentially be a target. So
Sure.
people are thinking about protecting themselves in different ways. But I
Oh man, you bring up a good point. I'm probably gonna go this weekend and stock up on on goods, like dry goods, just to make sure we have enough food here.
yeah, actually that's a great point too. I didn't even think of it that
Yeah,
way.
no, I just thought of it right now. So
Yeah.
good stuff, eh? There we go.
That's a really, really good point. Because think about it this way. I'm pretty sure, like, let's say starting from Monday night, things just go shitty.
Yeah.
Right? And then, well, tell me this. What do you think will be worse for, like, the streets? If Trump wins or if Biden wins?
I think it's gonna be worse if Trump wins. I mean, either way, there's gonna be protests.
Yeah.
If I speak specifically here for California, specifically for LA, and just actually or all of Southern California, most of Southern California. If Trump
Except
wins,
for maybe Orange County.
yeah, that's what I'm excluding. So I think we'll be fine. but,
Yes, we
but
will be
like
fine.
back home, where my family is.
Yeah.
If Trump wins, I could see that being problematic.
No, yeah, definitely. I worry more about potential rioting too.
Yeah.
Not that I think it'll happen, but you never know because there's always opportunists out there, right? They take advantage of a situation, all those crowds outside,
Yeah.
But
So I hope. I mean, if you're listening to this, though, just vote. Let's work within the process and the confines that have been set for us. And there's a way of making change, one way or another in the future. We just gotta use what we can and use the power of the vote. I'm not gonna say it hasn't failed us. Because obviously with the electoral college system that we have, it kind of has sometimes. But there's ways and means of going about it. And as much as we talk about the presidents and their elections, make sure to also vote and read carefully all the propositions. I think that's more important. And I'm going off the rails a bit here with these prop talks. But if you really want to invoke the change, that's where they are. That's where your state policies are going to be. And there's a lot of people that are a little more closely affected with those votes that you cast than just the overall presidential one.
Don's absolutely right. I think for the average voter, propositions matter much more than voting for the president. Although, do vote for everything. Like, vote for every single thing that's on the ballot.
Yeah.
Whether it's a lower court justice or a senator, representative, whatever it means.
And please read it. Read it. Don't just pick a name. Like if you see a vice president with a rapper name, don't just pick it. Do your due diligence and spend 10 minutes out of your day reading the pamphlet they give you. It gives you more than enough information, I think, to at least give you a somewhat informed, to help you have a somewhat informed opinion as to where you vote or how you vote. And don't be shy to, if it's something that you kind of, teeter the line on, you could always pass a vote on a certain prop. But if there's something you feel strongly about and have people affected by, or something that aligns with what your future outlook for America should be, then by all means.
Yeah, I think Don said it best. And of course, I won't embarrass Don by telling him which Republicans or asking him which Republicans he voted for. But I will say that it's important.
You're like fucking poisoning the minds of our listeners with this garbage, man.
Hey, that's why if you want to beat people like Don, if you want to counter the force that Don is bringing,
go back 10 minutes. You'll know who I voted.
It's very, very easy to lie on this podcast. The theme song is
Don't
memorized.
Make me bring out the picture. Don't make me
bring it up. I already explained the story. I'll just edit this part out. How about that? How about that? No,
I got the raw. I'm gonna pull a Trump, man. I'm gonna expose it before 60 Minutes airs. Don't make me do it.
I hear you. But no, I think that is a great way to end the podcast. Actually, just reminding everybody, get out there and vote if you haven't already. And if you have questions, I think it's always good to do your research. You'll find a surprising amount of information available to you online. And if not online, talk to people you trust. Talk to people like your family, your friends, your coworkers.
The D, not the A.
Yeah, talk to the D because he'll tell you about the right side, the Republican side.
I'm not going to give you the slippery D. I'll give you the real D.
He'll give you the raw D, the raw Republican. He'll give you the double R, the raw Republican. The very conservative view of the world. I think the people, the fans know what they're going to vote for by now. I think everybody's probably made up their mind about the big one, and this time next week we will know. I hope we will know.
Hopefully,
and Don will either be celebrating or protesting in the streets, and we will let you know what happens. And until then, this is the A signing off.